Our next guest, Dion, has thankfully found safe refuge in a shelter for the homeless after living months trying to survive on the streets.
I was homeless for 7 or 8 months. Back here, no one really bothered me. I was able to put a cover on top and lay on all the 2x4s and make a home here. And then I put the carts against so that nobody would bother me. Back there, took enough fentanyl that should have ended my life. So much has changed since then. I didn't want to continue to live. Now I do. I am living way better. So over here is a place that saved my life. It's a 9-month faith-based rehabilitation program. We do all of our classes, our AA classes, our biblical classes, our counseling therapy sessions. I graduate in about 2 weeks. And there's nothing better. Arresting homeless people is definitely not gonna help them. There's no benefit to jail at any time. It's not a place that actually corrects their behavior. It's punishing somebody, and then you're back on the streets, you're back in your addiction, and it's an endless cycle. You're not giving anybody a good chance to live their life. You're just thinking that you're rounding up a bunch of disgusting degenerates in this world and putting them all in a place that you feel that you can control them. In today's society, 100% believe that we are dirty, gross, mistreating the system, and they couldn't be far from the truth.
Well, Dion, I'm glad you're here, and you're making some real progress, right?
Absolutely.
You've been homeless for 2 years. You stayed with a friend. You slept on the streets for 7 or 8 months, benches, anywhere you could find a shelter at times. You say it got to the point where you didn't really care whether you lived or died. Why?
So kind of what he was talking about, I struggled with mental illness and addiction altogether. And I've been struggling with that for 10 years, and I never found an out. I never found hope. I never found a way to really cope with it or to deal with my addiction. And I had a job, I had a house, I had everything, and I lost it all because of my addiction and the things going on in my head. And it got to the point where I got scared and so alone, and I couldn't hold conversations with people long enough to be able for them to actually get to know me. And I did enough fentanyl that should have ended my life.
Mm-hmm. What kind of work were you doing?
So I was a mechanic for 6 years. Before that, I served in the Army. Mm-hmm. And for the 6 to 7 years that I was a mechanic, I managed shops. I had people that worked for me. I almost was on the path to buying my own shop. Mm-hmm. And I had a nice condo.
And what happened to derail you? Having trouble taking your business to the next level? Financial Yield Solutions, Inc., or FYSI for short, provides tailored solutions for businesses generating $1 to $10 million annually. For tax planning, advertising, and retirement strategies to scaling operations, FYSI helps businesses thrive. With $500 billion raised for AI tech under the Trump administration, businesses cannot afford to be left behind. FYSI can even help you explore AI integration to cut costs and boost profits. With over 14 years of experience, FYSI specializes in solving the exact challenges business owners face. Business owners can book a free business review today to transform their operations, boost profits, and secure their financial future. Visit fysi.com/Dr. Phil or call 800-877-4000. That's fysi.com/Dr. Phil or call 800-877-4000. What kind of work were you doing?
So I was a mechanic for 6 years. Before that, I served in the Army. And for the 6 to 7 years that I was a mechanic, I managed shops. I had people that worked for me. I almost was on the path to buying my own shop. Mm-hmm. And I had a nice condo out here in Prosper.
And what happened to derail you?
So I was drinking pretty significantly after I came back from Afghanistan, to just kind of cope with everything that had happened out there. and I have found no way to really deal with it. But I was a functioning alcoholic, if you want to say. And when I was 25, about 6 years after I got out from the military, when I was 25, I got into a really bad motorcycle accident. And the doctor prescribed me painkillers. And that was it. That was the cure to all the pain, everything that I felt inside. I felt like I was God. I can control my life until I couldn't anymore.
So they gave you pain meds, opioids?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Big bottle?
Big bottle. They did it for about 2 years until they abruptly stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no, hey, man, let's try to wean you off of it. It was like, all right, we're going to be done with the prescription.
Yeah. And where's the VA in all this?
And I stopped going. They were no longer helping me.
They weren't offering you any help?
Yes, sir.
Were they offering you any therapy?
They did initially for the 6 weeks of decompression phase whenever I came back. But after that, I put on a mask to say that I'm fine, I'm stronger than this. And I tried to beat it myself, and it didn't work. But I work with a therapist now who specializes in trauma and PTSD and night terrors, and she's done an amazing work that no other VA therapist that I've experienced in my own experience has been able to get me to overcome.
Mm-hmm. That's great. You're going to continue pursuing that, right?
Yes, sir.
You're going to be in sober living soon, right?
Yes, sir. So the facility that I'm at now, they're a 9-month rehabilitation facility. They didn't just give me a bed to lay on or a place to go to, because I've tried sober living facilities before. I've tried, like, here's a bed and here you go, you're off the streets, congratulations. They immediately, day one, poured so much love into you and make you feel like you're worth it and show you that there's hope. And then the sober living that they provide afterwards is after the treatment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is after you realize that there is hope, and it's up to addicts like me and to everybody else to inform people that there is hope to get off the drug.
And you don't think they should criminalize homelessness?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. But do you think that when homeless commit crimes, they should be held accountable for those crimes?
I mean, a crime's a crime. I've been to jail. I've committed crimes, and I fully take ownership of everything that I've done.
Because there's two different things. Criminalizing someone for not having somewhere to go is one thing. Criminalizing criminal behavior, holding people accountable for committing crimes, is a different thing.
There's a way different thing.
I mean, holding somebody accountable because there's not a bed for them to go to, and so they're left on the street with no option, criminalizing that behavior and starting to rack up fines, and so the system is pushing them into a hole they can't get out of, is a self-fulfilling prophecy that leads to nowhere good. But because they don't have a place to stay doesn't mean the laws no longer apply to them, and so now they can assault Missy, they can do this or do that, and they get a pass because they don't have a bed. That's a different story.
That is.
You agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. I mean, there's evil people in this world.
Well, evil or otherwise, you break the law, you break the law.
You break the law, you break the law. It's
And-
not just homeless people that are creating these crimes either.
Of course.
You're putting a status on us, thinking that we are all criminals when we're not.
No, but if you commit a crime, you're a criminal.
Yep.
That doesn't mean just because you're homeless, you get a pass, but it doesn't mean just because you're homeless, you're a criminal.
Right.
I'm just saying that there shouldn't be a separate set of rules for somebody that doesn't have a place to stay.
Right.
That doesn't mean resources shouldn't be made available. Every effort shouldn't be made to try to get someone like you back on your feet. And you're a perfect example of, if those resources are spent, you can start contributing to society instead of bleeding it dry.
Right.
And you're a perfect example of that. And congratulations for it. And thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, next, we visited a homeless community in Grants Pass, Oregon, to find out what they say about laws that would criminalize their means for survival. We'll take a look at that after the break. $36 trillion. That is the U.S. debt, and it gets deeper and deeper by the day. Our debt has never been higher, nor have the stakes. The government is looking to slash the federal budget by $2 trillion, and no one knows what that will mean for your job, savings, and future. I've seen a lot in my time, and there's one thing I know for sure. You need to prepare before it's too late. I trust Preserve Gold to help protect my wealth, and I strongly urge you to do the same. They are the only precious metals firm I trust and recommend to my family, friends, and audience, and they have a special offer just for you. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue throughout 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 today.
People around this country who are experiencing homelessness know that we have their back. They know that we care. And you show those in power in this country that arresting, finding, and ticketing our neighbors does not make homelessness better. It is a costly way to make homeless people invisible and homelessness worse. We should have realized a long time ago that we can't arrest our way out of issues.
If you ask people experiencing homelessness themselves, they are strongly against being criminalized.
The officers are kind of being mean with us. They kind of look down on us, because we're homeless.
They literally look for reasons to give us tickets so they can kick us out of the parks.
The officers will come to, and they'll wake us up in the morning, who's in your tent?
Well, they think most of us are drug addicts, and that's not necessarily true. Some of us are just displaced.
We basically get treated like we're street trash. Nobody wants to see us. I'm hopeful, though, that maybe they actually realize that it is cruel and unusual punishment to be doing this to us. Just give us something we can work with. More shelters, homeless shelters, or a piece of land where we can go and not be bothering anybody.
I'm scared. They have a group that goes around and beat up homeless people. Take baseball bats to them and stuff. There's some people who've been put in the hospital from it. And if we had somewhere to get up and leave too, believe me, we'd be there.
Well, joining us now is someone I consider a really good friend, Donald Whitehead, who is the executive director of the National Coalition for the Homeless. He believes criminalizing homelessness would set a terrible precedent for our country. On the other side is Matt Makoviak, who is the co-founder of Save Austin Now, a nonpartisan citizenship group dedicated to protecting the quality of life in Austin, Texas. Now, Matt's been on the show. Consider him a friend as well. He believes laws surrounding homelessness are needed to protect communities and even those experiencing homelessness themselves. And I've got strong feelings about this. There are parts of both of y'all's positions that I agree with. And then there's a third position that I hold that I'm going to talk about that I feel strongly about, but I come last. So it's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
You certainly don't think that we should be criminalizing people for not having a place to stay.
No.
And I agree with that 100%. If somebody like you, who are obviously a very responsible young mother, finds herself without a place to stay, and the place you're in doesn't have resources to help you get over a hump, they have 50 beds and 100 people that need them, we shouldn't arrest the 50 that don't get a bed. That's insane. That just means, okay, you didn't have the money for a place to stay. Now we're going to start tagging you with a ticket for $100. Then you're not going to pay that. So now you're going to be in contempt of court. So now we're going to tag you with a second one for now, $250. Now you're going to owe $350. So we're going to snap you up and put you in jail for 30 days. When you get out, you're going to owe court costs and you're still going to owe $350. I mean, we're just digging a hole and throwing dirt in on top of you. That doesn't solve anything.
It does not. And the other thing that people have to understand is people don't want to be homeless. And if you find, jail, and arrest people, after that's over, they're still homeless. So you haven't solved the problem. You've actually spent money that you could have spent on affordable housing and services on criminalizing individuals. And so the status of homelessness should not be criminalized. I do agree if people commit crimes, they should have to answer for those crimes. But sleeping outside because you have nowhere else to go is not a crime.
Yeah, if some guy jumps in her car, pulls his pants down, tries to grab her purse, I don't care if he's homeless, not homeless, came out of the bank, whatever, he's going to jail.
Absolutely.
That's a crime. Now, that's not criminalizing homeless. That's criminalizing behavior of somebody that happened to be homeless when he did the crime. He's going in. I don't care. That's a crime. That's different than criminalizing homelessness. Agreed?
Absolutely. And we see in communities where they have stopped criminalizing homelessness, homelessness has decreased dramatically. One example, Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida stopped criminalizing homeless people for a period of years, and homelessness in that community was reduced by 90%.
Why?
Because they used the alternatives. They used housing and supportive services, so people were off the streets and able to get treatment that is non-existent in a lot of places. They were able to get mental health services. So the city had to be creative. The city had to think about solutions and not just making people invisible by putting them in jail, but actually making people healthy. Communities are absolutely safer and healthier when we have alternatives to criminalization and we have housing and supportive services.
Yeah, and arresting people is a very expensive way to get 3 hots in a cot.
Absolutely.